May I present to you possibly the greatest janitor the world has ever known, James Croll. He was born with the front part of his skull not properly formed. He ended up being largely self-educated. And in particular, a magazine sparked an interest in Croll in science. Unfortunately though, there was no way for Croll to follow up on this interest because he was very poor and there were no opportunities for very poor people to get further education. And for several years, Croll scraped by working whatever job he could. But he gets the break of a lifetime when he lands a job as a janitor. He's paid £1 a week to clean the library at the Andersonian University. Croll took this opportunity to devour the contents of the library. He taught himself the latest theories in mathematics and physics and geology and astronomy, and eventually started corresponding with the authors of those theories. Not fan mail, but critiquing their work, and it became clear that all along, Croll had this unbelievable mind. The thing that he seemed particularly interested in, though, was the cause of this newly discovered ice age. Croll hypothesized that orbital variation was responsible for the ice age. He claimed that when a hemisphere's winter was particularly cold, more snow would fall, and so over hundreds and thousands of years, that snow would be compacted into ice sheets that would cover the landscape. He also realized that the more snow that falls on the ground and the more ice that forms in the sea, the more reflective the Earth becomes, reducing the amount of energy that it absorbs from the sun, cooling it even further, cooling an already cooler Earth. So those orbital variations didn't even need to be that big in order to produce huge changes in climate, enough to cause ice ages. And Croll was acclaimed by the great scientists of his day, people like Darwin. But unfortunately, there was no way to know if he was right or not. The experimental techniques to prove or disprove his theories hadn't even been imagined yet. Regardless, Croll was given an official academic post, allowing him to hang up his broom. But sadly, this wasn't to last. Croll's health failed him again, and he felt compelled to resign, and in fact, retire, in poverty once more until his death. And while he was lauded in his lifetime, within a few decades of his death, he'd been mostly forgotten, as had his theory, until Milutin Milankovitch. Milankovitch extended Croll's mathematics and corrected a mistake in them. And so it's his name, not unjustly, that was associated with this theory. But perhaps we should be calling them Croll-Milankovitch cycles, because James Croll laid the foundations of the theory. He overcame incredible odds and swam against the tides of economics and social mobility of the time to become one of these remarkable men, one of these incredible stories, a fairy tale in the history of science.